So the 2020 Moto E NO World Cup has come to a conclusion, and we have a new champion. Jordi Torres, a rookie in the class, won a dramatic double-header finale in Le Mans in France. On this edition of Behind the Race with Michela, Cerruti and Lewis Duncan, we will discuss what an enthralling 2 races it was, Michela. It was a season's worth of drama packed into 14 laps, more or less. It was an incredible finale.
Yes, it was an incredible one. On the other side, I tell you honestly, I would have liked to see them really fighting in the last race, but unfortunately, race 1 in Le Mans was already like signing the champion, if we can say that. But of course, it was really thrilling season, and we could have a fight till the very last race. It was really, really exciting, and probably we didn't imagine to see Torres on top. He had some luck, let's be honest, but on the other side, he was also very clever during this weekend, and he had a good performance all the season, so I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. It started very much in that first race, that dramatic collision at the first corner with Aegerter involved, Dominique Aegerter, and then Matteo Ferrari on his own had an accident which completely blew everything open. Torres went on to win his first race of the season, the first race in Moto E. Of course, he is a rookie, and that really set the tone for the second race. I think at that point he had an 18-point advantage going into the second race, and of course with the grid format decided by race result, already it was difficult for Ferrari and Aegerter to do anything about Torres. But let's just talk about that first collision, that first accident, because you couldn't have scripted it. It was unbelievable.
Yes, it was. He had an interview, Torres, at the beginning at the starting grid, and he was talking about that first corner that could have been dangerous. He was hoping for the other riders to be kind. He used this kind of word in turn 1 because probably he knew it could have been dramatic. I think that he was not really meaning that kind of kindness, but Aegerter and Ferrari were also kind from that point of view, because they left the way to the championship really easy for Torres at that point. Conditions, they were pretty cold. Usually you don't go to Le Mans with motorbikes in this period of the year. These new calendars in this COVID season, they put some unexpected elements during the race weekends, because riders, they are not really used to this kind of temperatures, and so the conditions were tricky. The track was cold. With Moto E, you don't even have the warm-up lap, so at the end it was pretty easy to make a mistake. It was like that in race 1, it was like that in race 2. But so I don't want to say that it was completely unexpected to see a crash, but yes, to have the 2 championship contenders out of 3 on the ground in turn 1 was a bit disappointing. It would have been nicer to see them fighting till the last lap of the last race, but that's how it is, and that's why I think that Torres was he had that turn 1 in mind. He was probably more conservative, and at the end his intelligence paid off.
And we saw that in the second race, Torres' mindset. He was very early on the brakes into the first corners, trying to avoid any danger. And in doing so, actually, he ended up almost being taken out by Granado. There was a collision there, and somehow Torres got away with that, which I think sums up Torres' end to the season, really, is that he immensely lucky. But he did what he needed to do in that second race. He didn't do anything silly. When Ferrari came past, he just let him go, and he banked the points he needed to get the championship.
Yes, he needed to get to the end. He needed to get, of course, good points even in race 2, but it was really unlucky to see someone else winning the championship at that point. We have to say that he was for sure lucky to have a race 1 like that. On the other side, he was dominating from the beginning of the weekend, so even his e-pole lap was clearly faster than anyone else. So for sure, the title was deserved, because the performance behind was really impressive, by the way. But yes, in race 2 he did well in being extremely conservative, even if he risked to have an accident because of that. But he knew he just had to get to the end in the points to be sure to get the title.
For sure, and you make an excellent point there. Torres was on form the whole weekend. It's not as if he just lucked into everything. He did the hard work as well, and even being conservative in that second race, it wasn't so easy, because in those cold conditions you can't back off. You have to keep pushing to keep the heat in the tires. But if you keep pushing, there's a chance you'll crash because of the conditions. So it was a very, very difficult second race, more difficult than I think it looked from the outside.
Yes, there were crashes even there. There were crashes in qualifying, in race 1, in race 2. So we've always said these motorbikes are for sure not easy to drive because of their weight, because of their special characteristics, because of being electric and being also that heavy. So this makes it even more difficult when you have a tricky condition like the cold, the rain, which was almost there also in race 2. So conditions were even worse than in race 1. We were just kind of lucky that the crash was not that bad at the beginning, to have a safety car or a race interruption or something like that. But yes, it was not easy at all. I mean, we could see that already staying on track was a kind of success during this weekend. So, and luckily all the riders, they are all fine, because there were many crashes actually.
Yeah, quite a few crashes, and some injuries as well. Alex DeAngelis in his final ever motorcycle race picked up an injury in a qualifying crash. And yeah, we had some heavy incidents, but everyone walked away, which is the main thing. Just moving away briefly from the championship battle, I want to talk about Granado, because his weekend it almost summed up his season. Started off brilliantly, Granado, at the start of the year, and then it disappeared from him. And then everything that happened that weekend to him just sort of compounded how difficult the championship became for him.
Yes, let's say that probably we expected from last year, we expected him to grow a little bit more, to become a little bit more mature in his, not really in his riding style, because he could show many times that he could have the speed, but still he's too much on the ground from what I could see. And that really doesn't make him achieve the concrete results. So I think that everyone can say that he's quick, but if he doesn't make a step forward, being more mature, I think that's not enough. Being quick sometimes is not enough most of the times actually, it's not enough to become a title contender, to become a championship winner. Many times we have maybe title winners who don't really win so many races during the season, but they can be consistent. They can be also more clever, more conservative in certain situations. And at the end of your career, that's what it counts, to have titles, to have numbers. And I think he needs to improve from that point of view, because he has the speed for sure.
Yeah, for sure. As you said, we've seen championships before where riders might not have won. We saw in the 125 class in 98, I think, Emilio Zamora won without a victory. And in Moto E, you need that consistency. It's like you say, it's not so much about winning so much. You need the points every single race, and that's what Torres did. And Torres is a rookie. And looking ahead to next year, guys like Granado, Ferrari, they can't really rest on their current sort of form. They need to take a step forward, because we've seen that rookies can come into the class and be quick straight away and be consistent. And you have to think that more top riders are going to start coming to Moto E in future seasons, because the championship is really grown up in these 2 seasons.
Yes, it has grown up, and you are anyway in the big environment, an important environment of MotoGP, Moto2, Moto3. So I think that is anyway very good to be there. And also the electric technology in general is growing as well and is becoming more and more important in motorsport in general. So yes, I think that all these guys who have experience in MotoE needs to watch behind their shoulders, because even if you are a rookie but you can adapt very well to this motorbike, you can be a problem for the ones thinking to be the best inside MotoE. So we could see it with Torres, we could also see with Aegerter at the beginning. I mean, if you can adapt yourself and you have that capability of changing your riding style with following the motorbike you need to ride, that's a very valuable point for MotoE. Also because you cannot make too many mistakes, because the races are really short and you do not have so many races like in other series. You do not have like 15 to 20 events in a season. So you need to stay on the bike and to finish in the points and to be focused and consistent. That's the way.
And just finally, just following on from that, this is our second season of MotoE, and it's been an interesting development for the championship from what happened at the start of last year with all the problems they had with the fires and things like that, to come to this point now where we had a really competitive championship, where we had good big name riders coming into it, giving up rides in other series to come into MotoE. The future's very bright for MotoE, it seems.
The future is bright, the evolution is there, also because the technology will improve. So there was already an improvement, even talking about the motorbike, because for sure the championship is in the right environment. The fights are there, the show is there, because the championship is exciting, the races are exciting. But of course, the quality of the motorbike can help in making the show even better. So from last season to this season, we already had an evolution from the technology point of view, and the motorbikes were slightly quicker already. They know the organization, the manufacturer of Energica, they know which is the weak point of the bike. So if they work on that and they will make an even more competitive bike season after season, I think that that will also be the key to make the MotoE greater and greater. But I think that's the goal, and they will probably achieve it.
Indeed, I look forward to seeing, as I'm sure everyone does, how MotoE evolves next year when we return. That is it for the end of the season. Michela, thank you very much for your company. It's been very enjoyable to talk about MotoE with you. And thank you to the viewers. We hope to be back next year for what shall hopefully be another incredible season of the Enel MotoE World Cup.